Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be having a One Piece theory / discussion video on Joyboy, Luffy, Gear 5, and all that good stuff. So please, spoiler warning and all the rest, don't watch this video unless you're caught up on the most recent One Piece chapter, which would be, what was the most recent One Piece chapter?
1114.
Ka-chow. There we go. So please like and subscribe if you have not, and then also leave a comment and give your feedback on what you think that the lineage when it comes to Joyboy and things like that too. So I think one potential opportunity. So like the first potential lineage that Luffy can come from. Sorry, let's just say Joyboy. My mistake. Yeah, we're talking about Joyboy, the figure, not necessarily Luffy. Okay, so when it comes to Joyboy, he could potentially be a celestial dragon, but I'd say like kind of the negatives that would go into this point is like Shanks is already kind of from that lineage, and I think it would kind of be a little cheap, I guess, in a way to say like you have both major figures coming from the celestial dragons when you already have Shanks coming from that lineage, so or heavily implied that Shanks comes from that lineage. So I think that trope's kind of already being done again and everything like that, and the Celestials were like the ones that are trying to wipe out the ancient kingdom and all that stuff. So it would be weird to have Joyboy be a part of the people that that are trying to wipe him out. So I think it'd be more fitting if he came from the people that are the lineage that's more opposed to celestial dragons.
Well, I think potentially he could be from, if we're going on this point, from the group. Like, he could have been associated with the group that eventually became the Celestial Dragons.
Right.
Like, he was the ruler of something, of a kingdom out there. And he got blacklisted for being a pirate. Because I was kind of thinking after the end of the last chapter, like, he was labeled the first pirate. And it's like, what does that like really mean? Because the government would have had to have labeled him that. So
yeah.
But like we saw with Kuma with his flashback, the government can just kind of twist and put labels on people no matter what. So like I said, he could have been part of their stock and disagreed with them, but and they labeled him a pirate and went after him. I could see that potentially being the case.
It's possible, but it seems like Joyboy, at least by like the nature of the lineage and things like that, where you have like kind of the Willa D people go against like Doflamingo and like the Celestial Dragons kind of thing, like they're mortal enemies and stuff like that. So it'd just be kind of weird to Joyboy. We assume Joyboy's a D too, right? We assume Joyboy is of that same lineage, So just going off of that dynamic that the enemy of the gods, as Doflamingo would say, like that, like they're two rivaling gods, if you will, quote unquote,
Yeah,
the Celestial Dragon side and then the Joyboy side in a way. So so I think that, so Celestial Dragons, and then do you want to, let's see, the Nefatari family, I guess, is kind of,
I mean,
parallel Celestial, yeah.
They are Celestial Dragons, but they chose to live on the surface, so.
Right. They were kind of seen as traitors and things like that, so I guess maybe that could be something where the lineage factor is kind of a different there, is like, yeah, he was a Celestial Dragon, but he was from the Nefertari clan. Just because we see the Nefertaris like play a huge role in the story. It's like kind of like the first interactions we have with the poneglyphs in the story. I think that's the first time we see one, right? It's in the context of Cobra and all that stuff too. So that's a possibility there, because that's kind of the first door that opens to the Void Century when it comes to this plot line and everything like that. And we tend to see the Nefertaris as like kind of the sworn enemies of Emu too, and the Gorosei. So I think that's kind of the evidence towards it. I think kind of the evidence against it is they haven't been too much of a prominent element in the story, not an insane amount, but I don't think that's strong evidence against it.
Well, I'll just say that we already have Vivi, so I don't know if we need another person that's related like that. But
Joyboy would be someone in the past, though, right? Like not now. You know what I mean?
I know, but we don't want to run into a Naruto thing. Everyone's a new Uchiha. Everyone is. Only the important people came from that. But
that's true.
I don't know. I want to circle back on one point though. You mentioned the thing about the gods and everything. And it specifically, Nika is referred to be a god, and all the ancient weapons are made to be like weapons of the gods. So I just think that he's even what am I looking for? I think that Joyboy might have been usurped by the Celestial Dragons, because I was rereading some stuff, and I had forgotten that the Lunarians had come from the Red Line. They lived on top of the Red Line. It was called the Land of the Gods. And we kind of see... so I don't know if we're like directly involving Nika in there, because Nika's fruit is directly... The awakening of the fruit is directly linked to the second coming of Joyboy, with like Zunisha recognized that right away.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about Nika like being a god and everything, because we kind of see like in the silhouette he has the flaming hair and everything.
Yeah.
So I think that it might be relating to Lunarians, maybe too, but
which could extend the Skypians to some extent as well.
Yeah, right? I mean, it could be a hodgepodge of things, because like Joyboy and Nika are so closely linked together, but like certain people, like the Buccaneers, passed down the legend of Nika, and the sun, it's Nika's the sun god of the giants, and Joyboy's related to the fishmen in some way. So there's just a lot of fingers in the pie of these two. They're kind of connected to everything.
Yeah. But would you say, are you arguing for the Lunarians or for the Skypian lineage? Just with that point you just made.
I'm just kind of putting it out there. I'm not really taking one stance or another, but I do.
Well, not a position, but like evidence towards like. Do you think that evidence supports like Skypians more or Lunarians more, if you were to say?
Honestly, I think it points more towards giants.
Okay,
that's what I kind of think. Just based on Nika, like in the last chapter, it ends off with saying Joyboy had the powers like Sun God Nika, being able to stretch and everything. And also, I just got to think that he's related to the that hat in Mary Joa, the giant straw hat.
The big hat, yeah.
So that's my gut feeling on it, because it's just tied in a lot. Because I don't think it would be mermen or anything. I think it's more humanoid.
Yeah, and I know like we got a lot of exposition of Joyboy and Fishman Island arc and everything like that, but I think the fact that he felt the need to make an arc implies that he couldn't swim.
That's true.
Right? So I think that's kind of one good fact right there, to kind of point for that direction. The fishmen are ancient, but at the same time, I think he's like there to help free them and everything like that. But that's it, And I think with Madame Shirley's, apparition or her prophecy, she saw like a straw hat and destruction and things like that too. And I think she would have like noticed like a fishman, basically, if it was like a fishman straw hat and things like that too. The links that kind of go with that. So I'm not sure. So I think like with the fishman, I agree with that. And I think with the giants, there is some evidence pointing towards it, just because we see a giant big mom who wants all the giants, and with the Elbaf and how the giants were playing a big role in the world government, and Cypherpole made a big issue of recruiting as many giants as they possibly could, and things like that too. Yeah. So it's definitely been teased out a lot, and how Big Mom has this animosity towards the giant tribe and things like that too, and with Loki and all the rest. So I think it is interesting that I think there has been more of a foundation for that, and for the giants. And
who saved all the poneglyph research from Ohara? It was the giants.
And now they're here saving them from Egghead Island too. So and they live long periods of time as well. So I think there is evidence that kind of support that he was a giant, definitely. So I do agree with that. Let's see. Do you think? Okay, we'll start with this, and then we'll move on to the next right here. But do you think he's a D? Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Joy D boy.
Yeah. Okay, Joy D boy. Okay, yeah, agreed. I just think there's plenty of evidence with his character.
Or maybe. Maybe he's not even like. Maybe he's like the progenitor of the D clan.
Yeah.
And maybe, like he wasn't a D himself, but his offspring or the people that he like affected are Ds in that way.
Yeah. So maybe, and I think that's fair.
Yeah. Maybe everyone in his pirate crew took the initial D, and he had all different races, and it spread.
Yeah, which I think brings like an interesting discussion when you get into characters like Blackbeard, how he's a D, but it seems to be an anti-Nika or an anti-Luffy in a way, where he wants to destroy everything, but for a darker reason, which I think is a good segue into, do you think he is related to the Zebek line at all? Or do you think it's like... that's not the case?
I don't know. We don't have...
Probably not.
Yeah, we don't have too much information about Zebek, except for the fact that it's somehow related to Blackbeard, and that he was just Roger's rival. So, I don't know. It's kind of inconclusive on that.
Yeah, not much to go off of, and how ancient the bloodline goes, because it kind of seems to just start with Zebek, and that's it. There's not really much to go off of right there, and things like that too. So I think that's fair. And then do you think Roger has any connection? I guess I'd say Roger's kind of like one of the few last ones I could think of, but Roger's bloodline and lineage in regard to Joyboy.
I don't know. I mean, he's definitely a D. We know that, but
I
could see that only as a connection. That way, I don't think like he would be a direct lineage. I would think that the government would try to hunt down like anything that has a direct tie to Joyboy. So
right.
Maybe that's the case of why they're wiping out like the Lunarians and the are the Three-Eyed Clan wiped out too?
They are very rare, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I mean, I assume the government would wipe them out. I mean, why not?
Because they can read the poneglyphs.
Yeah, and the only one that's alive is like in a Yonko's crew who can be protected, So
yeah.
Right. No, I think that's fair to say. I will say, like, for me, like, I think this is like my headcanon, but I think Joyboy is more likely to come from the Skypian line, just because Skypea was how a lot of this stuff is really introduced into the story. A lot of these themes of Joyboy and the poneglyphs and everything like that too.
That's true.
I think like it's a lot stronger, like Luffy defeating the god of NL and things like that too, which is kind of like a foreshadowing of like what's to come and everything like that, And then While I kind of see the Lunarians more like an extension of Sanji, and the reason for that is just obviously with Queen, really like hinting at it, like, oh, you're combusting in the flames. Are you a Lunarian or something, And then just kind of the genetic regen ability and things like that too, and how Sanji woke up when Luffy's Gear 5 was activated, basically, for the first time, and Zoro didn't wake up. Like, there's like a weird connection where it like connected to him immediately. So I kind of see like Sanji is descending from the Lunarian, and then like Luffy and Joyboy like from the Skypiea, basically. That's just kind of how I see that headcanon right there. For me.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that could be, because there's definitely a lot of stuff that happened with Skypiea foreshadowing Nika and everything.
And they're ancient too.
They're what?
It's an ancient bloodline, right? It goes back for a while. And what's kind of funny is that they don't exist in the known world anymore, but they've been turned into a myth, and we don't know exactly how Skypiea got sent up there. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, it could be naturally forming, but who knows?
Who knows? Everything's a psyop now.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was just thinking on the Three-Eyed Clan again, because Joyboy had to have made the poneglyphs. Well, he wasn't the progenitor, but he wrote on the poneglyphs and everything. So maybe he could read it naturally, and he inscribed everything that way. And maybe that's the reason why he that they're rare.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could also be like there was a whole thing about the Buccaneers too. It's strange that specifically the Buccaneers know the legend of Nika and are passing it down. And maybe because they were enslaved and everything. But yeah, it seems like a lot of like the quote unquote minor like races of One Piece get enslaved and everything. And fishmen, like giants, like all the other people.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe that does kind of accreditate the theory that he was a celestial dragon or was from their line, and he got sick of it. Kind of like a modern Mioscard,
Yeah.
Except much more successful.
Right, and I think it just kind of thinks of like where does that put the Will of D in the Void Century, and how this kingdom got overthrown and stuff. Like, is there any link to that century, if you will? Or is the link like Joyboy's legacy, where he was from that clan and he left like the Ark and the poneglyphs and all that stuff too, that the government's trying to get rid of? You know what I mean? So, like, I guess like who were the people that the Celestials replaced? And I guess like that would kind of be my only hesitation with that, I guess.
That's true.
And like I said, we've had like Shanks is probably going to be an example. He got sick of the Celestial Dragon. Worthless as he is, probably got sick of the world government too, and then he left, right? I guess like that trope's been kind of, we've seen that many times, I guess, and I think like Joyboy would be kind of something different in that respect too, Yeah. So, but I mean, that's about it for my thoughts. I'm edging towards either Giant or Skypiea from the Void Century. I think those are the two most likely ones. And then if it was Celestial Dragon, it'd be from the Nefatari clan.
Yeah, probably. Especially if like if it's all related to the Nefertari ancestor that Emu mentioned and everything. Oh shoot, what was her name? we'll remember it eventually. But
no, it wasn't. Was it Lilith or no? No.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll remember it. But yeah. So hopefully, but
it's Nefertari Lily. That's who it is.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I was pretty close. And so I would say my final contestants then are the Giants or the Sky Peons. I think are the most likely. And if Joyboy is a celestial dragon, then it's going to be from the Nefertari clan. And I think like there's a possibility that Vivi, Blackbeard, and Luffy all descend from that clan, and which is why Emu held all of them, in his hand, all the pictures. So
yeah, that's a possibility. But I'm going more towards Giant, or somehow related to the Buccaneers. But I think it would be funny if like he was like a small giant and he could use the ability to grow bigger with the Nika fruit. But those are my guesses.
Okay, cool. All right, well, all you great viewers, please leave your guesses, most likely, least likely, below, and give us a like and subscribe. We love hearing from you guys, and you guys have a great weekend, and we will have probably Jujutsu Kaisen review coming out soon, and then we're going to probably have a One Piece chapter review next week. So anyways, have a good one. This is Galley La Podcast signing off. Peace.
See ya.